Hey, good morning, everybody. Josh here. Thanks for watching our morning meditations, and thank you for all of your encouragement, your emails, and your texts. They're so appreciated, and I love you guys. For the last week or so, we've been studying the Beatitudes, sort of the micro sermon within the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus is telling his disciples very clearly what they need to do in order to receive this inner transformation that will equate to this outward change. And today we're studying the sixth beatitude, which is Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Now, this is a really interesting one, and it might be one of the most important ones of all of them because it touches on so many different things. So, they're all Jews, and to them, in their time, they would have understood this to mean um, the ritualistic purity, right? So washing your hands and abstaining from um, certain things that would make you unclean. Now, we in our modern day way of life and through Puritanism and the way that Christianity has evolved in the West, we might hear this beatitude and think of purity in a sense of sexual purity or moral purity or anything that has to do with purity of the your morals or your standards and things like that. But what Jesus was getting at here is not really hand washing and observing the purity of the law, or even sexual purity or virtuous purity. What he's getting at here is the way in which we view all things. And so, purity, when you purify a metal, you heat it up. And what happens is, if you were to purify gold or silver and it had impurities in it, they would all rise to the top, and that's called slag. And so a person would remove the slag, and what you would be left with is a pure piece of silver or gold. And so there's this distinction between the purity of the silver or gold and then these other impurities. It's two different things. And so Jesus is talking about a purity of singleness, one single way, one single posture that we have in the way that we live, in the way that we do everything, the way that we love people, the way that we look upon people and society and the earth, the way that we care for ourselves and for our family and for the planet. When we have purity in our lives, when we see things through purity, the singleness, then we become essentially in the same kind of being as God. We desire the things God wants. We lament the things that God laments. We begin to see how everything is interconnected and whole and single. And when a person does that, we go from seeing things as separate and divided to inclusive and whole. And that is how we're able to see God. So, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. So, I want you to consider that today. As you go through the weekend, consider maybe the things that are divided in your life, compartmentalized, maybe the things that are disjointed, and consider how there is a blessing in being able to see God, to see things in a holy way, when we see the interconnectedness of all things and how that affects our relationships and the way that we live and our state of mind, body, and spirit. I also want to remind you guys that in lieu of tonight's evening meditation, uh, Jeff and Kyle and Katie are going to be doing a just a short worship service, and so I invite you to tune into that this evening, where you can just enjoy a good evening of worshiping God with your brothers and sisters. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well, and we'll see you Sunday.